uncomfortable, rather. How long have you been waiting for your partner to change? I mean, maybe you've asked them to change, fought with them, sent them reels, podcasts, maybe even tried to drag them to therapy. Waiting, hanging in there, maybe by a thread some days, hoping that maybe one day they'll finally get it, finally change, finally start showing up and treating you the way that you've been asking, the way that you deserve. Yeah? How's that going? Probably not great, I'd imagine. Most people, most women, the ones doing this, to be honest, doesn't go very well. And that's because waiting for your partner to change, even if that waiting includes a whole lot of efforting to try to move things along, isn't neutral and it's not effective. It's a power leak, my friends. It's blame. And blame feels powerful until you realize that it keeps you stuck exactly where you are. Shifting out of that is the second of the 5 essential shifts that we need in this relationship revolution. And that's what we're getting into today. Welcome, my friends, to another Catalyst conversation for a relationship revolution. Here, we disrupt the old stories about love, power, and partnerships, and we activate new ways of leading our relationships consciously, courageously, and differently. Last week, we talked about the first shift, why love can't keep going the way it has been, because it's hurting us, why trying harder doesn't work, why explaining more doesn't land, individualism, the me versus you. The shift we made was from that separation into partnership. That is the first essential shift in the relationship revolution. This week, today, we cross another line. We cross into power, right? Where the power for change really is. If last week's conversation was an awakening to why we need a revolution, what's causing the problem, this week is the activation into what it is we need to do to start solving it. This week is the end of blame and the beginning of leadership. That's the shift we're getting into, and it's a juicy one. But before we get into all of that, if you're new to me or this work, I'm going to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Jenny Wallach. I call myself the Relationship Rebel because I am a disruptor at heart. I believe that our world desperately needs a new way of doing love and relationships. And I'm here to lead the relationship revolution. I am a relational empowerment expert and intuitive infinite possibilities guide. I'm a relationship mentor, a speaker, an author, an educator. I'm also the co-founder of Powerful Love Relationships, the business I do with my partner, Calvin, where our mission at Powerful Love is to revolutionize relationships and redefine what it really means to love, thus unlocking a new level of conscious power, healing, and connection on a global scale. We do this not by fixing people. People aren't the problem. We do this by teaching, by sharing, by awakening a critically conscious, empowered way of leading relationships. The work we do here at Powerful Love, everything that I'm about, that you're going to hear me ever talk about, is anchored in 2 foundational paradigm shifting truths. And I'm going to talk about these, I think, probably every Catalyst conversation, because I just want to I feel like I need to anchor into these all the time. The first is this: it only takes one person to change a relationship. It takes each of us, love, but it only takes one. So it takes you, it takes all of us. It only takes one. We're going to talk more about that today. And the second truth is this: real love is about choosing on purpose how you show up, even and especially when you don't want to, when it would be easier not to. Here at Powerful Love, we, if you're looking for support, we offer high-touch private mentorship, group coaching, community consulting, retreats, digital courses, a whole lot of supportive free content that shares revolutionary relationship upgrades that actually work. So if you are looking to save or transform your marriage, if you are looking for yourself, to improve yourself as a partner or as a relational leader, or if you are looking for ways to feel more empowered and fulfilled in your partnership, reach out. We would love to support you. And I'll share more about our Relationship Revolution community if you want to join the revolution at the end of this call. I'll also share about my upcoming Catalyst Accelerator for transforming your relationship at the end of this call. So stay tuned. If you're looking for really powerful ways to stay in the work, to get support, to experience transformation. And if you want to help us activate and accelerate this global movement, if you're like, I don't need support, but I believe in this fucking revolution, let's go, please help us out by making sure that you comment, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Insta, wherever you can find us. Share about our work, attend our events, send us referrals. If you let them know that you are a referral, we do have a referral program. We will send you a check for $500 if someone signs up for one of our programs. So send us people, help us help the world. And of course, do your part, my friends, in continuing to lead with love. Take what you are learning here, apply it, because again, it takes each of us. One way or another, dear one, I'm so glad that you are here. Truly, I am. Thank you for being a part of the Relationship Revolution. So, you ready? Let's get into it. Before we do, I want you to just take a breath for a moment. Feel the place inside of you that is tired of waiting. The place that knows that there has to be another way, a better way, a less frustrating, less exhausting way to create real change, real improvements in your relationship. That is the part that we are speaking to today. This conversation is not about fixing anyone. It's not a conversation about what you have done wrong. It's certainly not a conversation about blame of you or your partner. I mean, the title is The End of Blame, right? This is a conversation about understanding how relationships actually change, why power has never lived where most of us were taught to look, where most of us think to look, where most of us attempt to create change, and reclaiming our power from the place that it's been hiding. So let's talk about what this essential second shift in the relationship revolution is. I need to move my candle. It's melting too far down. I never want it to melt all the way because I'm afraid that the wick is going to drop. Okay. So the second there's five shifts in the relationship revolution we're going to get into. This is week 2, right? So the second shift in the relationship revolution is this. It's a shift from waiting for someone else or something else to change into leading the change ourselves. This is a shift from blaming, seeing our partner or a circumstance, a condition outside of ourselves as the problem, to what we at Powerful Love define as something called empowered accountability. And I'll talk more about that later. See how this ties to the first shift of also the movement away from me versus you into like an us. These build on each other. You'll see that. But I want to slow this down a little bit because when I've talked about these ideas before, a lot of people can get confused, even defensive, as they misunderstand what I'm trying to say. When I talk about ideas like leading your relationship, or it only takes one to change a relationship, or empowered accountability, they start to think, and often women, because this is often the message women get, understandably, that we should be doing all the work. Now, what I'm saying is we need to just figure it out ourselves. We should excuse harm, that we should not ask our partners to have to grow or step up. We shouldn't ask for our needs to get met. We should just deal with it. Or that we should abandon ourselves in the name of love. Let me be very clear. That is not leadership. That is self-erasure. I will never back that. Critical consciousness, empowerment. If you do not feel empowered, it's not in alignment with the values or the revolution. Remember that the second piece, and also we're going to get into this next week because it's part of the third shift actually. But the second core foundational piece of everything that we're doing at Powerful Love is the idea that what love really means is choosing to respond in ways that benefit everybody involved, even when it's hard to do. So if you're not also benefiting, it's not aligned. Okay? So what I am saying though is that waiting for someone else to change, asking them to do something, and then just hoping they do it, that's not love either. That's posturing. That's powerlessness. That's pointing fingers. That's more me versus you. You are essentially saying, here, you're the problem. Let me tell you what you need to do. Now go do it. That is not partnership. And it is not leadership. Okay? So if you have found that you have been waiting for them to get it, waiting for them to do as much as you do, waiting for them to apologize, or finally have the insight, connect the dots, remember how you would want things to be, right? Anticipate your needs, or waiting for the therapy to work without actively participating in ensuring your partner's success. then what you're really doing is seeing them as the problem, blaming them for the fact that the change is not happening, and giving away all of your power. Because if change happening is dependent upon someone else doing something that you have no control over, and you just have to hope and wait that they do the thing, that they behave the way that you want them to, that they think the way that you want them to, that they change, that they become, then your happiness, your dreams, your desires, your fulfillment is out of your hands. And that is a very powerless position to be in. And babe, I don't believe in your powerlessness. I don't believe in any of our powerlessness. I, quite the opposite, believe that we are all very powerful, far more powerful in creating our own experiences, our subjective internal experiences, and the unfolding of our life events than we realize. And this isn't woo. Like, okay, sure, I have lots of woo to back it up, okay? Spiritual manifestation, energetic stuff. But and there's quantum science that backs this up. That we can look to like biology and ecosystems to back this up. We can look to simple cause and effect, like logistics, to back this up. And I'm not going to get into all of that right now, but I want you to know that this isn't just fluff that I'm giving you. You are not powerless in this change process. But if you are waiting, and underneath the waiting, you are blaming, even if you don't realize it, there is that meta message. I feel like I'm going to tangent for a second, because sometimes I like to tell stories. I think every episode deserves a little story. Humans like stories. Here's a good story for you. When back in the days when Cal and I were struggling, and I was not aware of this. This is pre-discovery of the aha that changed everything. And this, by the way, this shift really, this was the shift that changed fucking everything. If there is any shift that revolutionizes your relationship more than the rest, it's going to be this one. This is because this is the how, this is the activation. So if you could start doing this, the other pieces kind of like start to also ripple out. Okay. This is the one. And so this, the idea of empowered accountability actually was the catalyst for the whole creation of Powerful Love and our foundational flagship program. Little fact for you. So we will never forget this, and he will never let me live this down. There, in our frustration and in my like high tower, highly educated doctor relationships, righteous place of knowing how relationships should be and how we're supposed to act, and being able to see the problem so clearly, because I could see the problem very clearly. And you know what the problem was? Him. But I could also see the way that I was the problem. But if he could just do this differently and respond this way and respond this way. And what was so great was I was such a wonderful partner. I wasn't doing me versus you because I was so willing to help support him be successful. I was so willing to help support him be successful that I told him that I would write him a manual. Isn't that so generous of me? Not joking, you guys. I told him, I will write you a manual, Calvin, about how to love me. I will spell out how, like when this happens, respond this way. when you want this kind of reaction from me, do this. If I'm feeling this way, you can do this and you're going to get the result that you want. And to be fair, still there are parts of me that's like, that was a really nice thing to offer, Jenny. Like, I wish he would have taken you up on that, because if he had that manual and actually used that, it would save you guys a lot of grief. For real. It would. But he did not want the manual. He didn't. Why? It was so nice of me. It was like, I was trying to help him. I was trying to help our relationship. Why? The message was blame. The message, hey babe, you're the problem. Here, go fix it. From his perspective, that was not the truth. He had his own valid feelings. I was part of the problem too. There's probably a manual he would want to write for me around how he wished I would behave and act around him, except that he didn't have the capacity or the desire or the internal resources to even think about writing me one. And so to hear like this, to receive this reflection that like, oh no, I think I am perfect and doing everything right. And it was hard, and it was easy to believe that from his insecure parts, because I was this doctor of relationships who had gotten all this education and was a therapist and blah, blah, blah. But some part of him was like, fuck that. No. So even though the manual maybe would have been helpful, the attempt wasn't, because it was still coming from blame. And even if he had accepted the manual, guess what would have happened after I gave it to him? Waiting. I would have been fucking waiting. For what? For him to read it? For him to memorize it? Because guess what happens when like an actual upset goes on between us? Do you think he would have had that shit like, even if he had it memorized, do you think it would have been in his nervous system in such a way that he could access the ability to implement the action step? Because that's the thing about like knowing what to do and being able to do it. I was just thinking about that last night. I'm going to do a post on this soon. Because I was in that place last night where it's like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't want to. I'm too upset. Yeah. Like, we keep all of our knowing in our prefrontal cortex, but our ability to actually do what we know we're supposed to do, that is a whole other skill. That is the real work of a relationship. Okay, now I'm really far down a tangent and off script, but I hope that this is serving you, right? Because it's a great story to highlight this, the way that we give away our power. Like, I thought that I was in my power trying to get my needs met, and actually I was still needing Cal to be the one to learn all the things and do all the things in order for my needs to get met. That is not power, that's powerlessness. And I get it. It makes sense when we're in it. It's like totally logical, because our brain goes, well, you did this thing and it was upsetting to me. It's not working for me. It's causing this problem between us. And if you could just stop doing this thing or start doing this other thing, then the problem would stop. So you are the problem, and therefore you are the solution. So I do need you to change. Makes totally logical sense. And that's why we all get stuck there, friends. So this shift, this is why this is so revolutionary. We don't see it. This is why it hides. We don't see it. Our brain does not see, does not understand, does not even have an awareness that there might actually be spaces, options, choices, responses that we could make that would put us in some position of influence that actually facilitates the change that we desire. That doesn't totally depend on our partner having to be the one to change. That allows us to achieve the feeling we want to have, the change we want to have, the relief we want to have, the healing we want to have, the improvement we want to experience. That does not completely rely on our partner having to do something first, or our circumstances having to change in a certain way first. This is leadership. This is relational leadership. This is the thing that I am on such a soapbox about teaching people how to do. Okay. There's this the simplest way that I can explain this idea about relational leadership is through a little metaphor illustration. Okay. So you've probably heard the idea that it takes two to tango, right? Yeah, it takes two to tango, just like it, you hear the idea that it takes two to change a relationship. And I'm saying it only takes one to change a relationship. And that is counterintuitive, a counterculture. And a lot of people are like, no, it takes two to change a relationship. And I'm like, no, it actually takes one to change a relationship. And there's science to prove it. But let me show you how this works in the dance metaphor. It takes two to tango. Yes. It takes two to do a relationship. You need, there's two people to be in relationship. Even within yourself, you're you in relationship with yourself. You, yourself, two. Okay? Two to tango. But in a tango, one person typically leads. Yeah. So in the tango, do you need both people to know all the steps of the tango? Do you need both people to lead the dance? No. It may take two to tango, but it only takes one to learn the steps and lead the dance. Listen, that line is not just cute. I mean, it is cute, but it's not just cute. It is motivational. It is instructional, my friends. Because leadership in relationship doesn't look like force. It doesn't look like pressure or ultimatums or micromanaging or convincing someone to be different. That's not leadership. That is controlling someone. Okay? That is manipulation wearing a self-help costume. Relational leadership looks like being present, knowing who you be, being clear and embodied in your sovereignty and strength, in your frequency. Even if they're pushing back, even if they're like, I'm trying to do the salsa, and you're like, no, we're doing the tango now. And you continue to lead the tango. You may be stepping on each other's feet, but you are still in your leadership. Not with force, with gentleness. You're not pushing them. You're leading them. This is a dance. See how beautiful that metaphor works, right? This is power without force, loves. This is responsibility without self-blame. Okay? This is leading without dominating. It's very different from the masculinized form of, or like perspective of power and leadership that we have traditionally talked about. And a little preview, we're going to talk about that more in shift number 5, because that's a part of the revolution too. Shifting, power shit, masculinity, femininity shit. That, like, power that's forceful, leadership that is dominating and not partnered, not attuned, because dancing is an attuned experience, an attuned partnership. That's not going to work. That's not going to work in our relationships. The revolution requires a different kind of leadership, a different kind of power. That is completely different kind of way of relating than most of us were ever taught. How am I doing on time? Oh my God, I'm probably like way over. I don't even know where the time is. 31 minutes already. Oh shit. Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about empowered accountability, and I'm going to try to speed things up a little bit because I'm talking a lot. I'm almost out of water. I'm so thirsty. Empowered accountability. I want to take a minute to like walk through this definition slowly. We've recently updated this definition as our business and identity has grown, and we have become more clear about how we want to really talk about what empowered accountability is. So this is actually the very first time that I am sharing the new and improved definition of empowered accountability. So congratulations on being the first few to hear it. We define empowered accountability as thus. Empowered accountability is the practice of recognizing and applying your power without force, taking responsibility without self-blame, and leading change without domination by honestly accounting for how you by honestly accounting for how your past meanings, patterns, and responses helped shape your experiences about your current reality, and deliberately affecting your future outcomes by consciously choosing who you will be and how you will respond next. That's a big one. I feel like it needs to be in subtitles across the screen. It's a lot, okay? It's in short, right? Like this is it's not about self-blame. It's not about collapse. It's also not about pretending you don't play a role in things, right? Empowered accountability is about, it's really, it's a practice. It's a way of being that honors that you have the power and the responsibility and the accountability for all of your experiences, for the experiences of your past, for the current reality that you're in, and for the future that you're creating. And with that awareness, using that awareness to consciously and deliberately create what you desire next by making a conscious choice on who you want to be and how you want to respond. So I want you to notice two things about this definition. First, it looks backwards without punishing you, right? You're honestly accounting for how your past meanings, patterns, and responses helped shape your experiences and your current reality. There's not blame. It's just an honest acknowledgement. And it's also looking forward without the waiting for permission, right? That's the deliberately affecting your future outcomes by consciously choosing who you will be and how you will respond next. This practice, empowered accountability, asks you to tell the truth without collapsing into shame and without outsourcing responsibility. It's asking you to look honestly at how you've been a part of the problem. Again, without blame, without shame, and without carrying the whole relationship on your back. Because your power only returns when the truth is told without punishment. We have to be strong enough to look in the mirror, to really look in the mirror, my friends. That's revolutionary. Not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people want to. Let's just let that sit for a second. You didn't cause everything that happened. Remember, this isn't all your fault. This is not about blame. If you start going into blame, this episode, the end of blame. Okay, if you start going to blame, you're going in the wrong place. Accountability. How did you, though? How may you have contributed to your own experiences? You are responsible. We are all responsible, loves, all of us, for the meanings we make of the things that happen in our life, for the ways that we responded to the things that happen in our life, for the patterns that we reinforce over time, for who we become inside our relationship, for the beliefs we hold, right? For the stories we tell, for the feelings that we stuff or let go unchecked. I mean, it's our responses for what we pay attention to. For the chances we take and don't take. I mean, you know, we all know that we're responsible for ourselves when we look at what that means and what the consequence, the outcome of that is. This is not an indictment, friends. This is a map to understanding how we participate in our own life. Not so that we can feel like we have failed, but so that we can liberate ourselves from participating in repeating it. So we can get unstuck. See, a lot of people get this twisted. They hear accountability and they think fault. That's not what this is. Accountability isn't fault, it's causality. Causality is where power lives. If you understand the cause of the effect and how like what your part of the cause was, you can change your part of the cause and you reclaim your power to change the effect. That's fucking powerful. And you have that power everywhere in your life. This idea, this shift from blame to leadership, from waiting to empowered accountability. This is where the revolution starts becoming embodied, right? This isn't just an idea. This is a shift that is a becoming. You in who you be, right? You stop forcing. You start inviting. You stop chasing. You start attracting. You stop convincing. You start leading. You don't need to figure out how. You just start to align. You don't need them to change first. You do. In fact, that's how things changed in that story I told you with me and the fucking manual with me and Cal. When I finally got it in the same chapter, in the same era, I realized that I wanted him to love me better, right? And when I finally realized that like he wasn't feeling loved, I decided to change me and focus on what I could do to love him better, and to make it easier for him to love me better. Guess what? He started loving me better. I didn't have to force him. I didn't have to convince him. I didn't have to figure out how. I just shifted my energy, how I thought about him, the meaning I was making about how he was reacting to me, even when he was being a straight up asshole. Yes. I had to put it into context. He was going through dark night of the soul. Okay. He wasn't a terrible person. He had reasons. His behavior was terrible sometimes. Not always. He was doing his best. I wasn't perfect either. Let me just say. But like, as I started to love him better, he had more capacity. He wanted to love me better. He wanted to be around me better. He started loving me better. And the more he started loving me better, the more I had to give him and wanted to give him. And we started an upward spiral. And that was the shit that changed everything. And quickly, I changed first. It was magic. And it's just know it's magic. There's lots of other pieces, but this is the core. Okay. And again, I just want to be really, really clear, loves. You're not changing first because you are the problem. You are changing first because you are the point of leverage. You are changing first because that is where you have power. Not forceful power. Empowered, sovereign, aligned, loving, powerful, ability to influence change, outcome, to be the cause of an effect kind of power. Make sense? Okay. So, next week, I just want to say, we're going to get into some more of the nuance about how this leadership looks when there really is shit that your partner needs to change. Because that's real too. And I know that, again, when I've talked about this before, that's often the resistance. It's like, yeah, well, I'm happy to lead and do my part and shift who I be and all this stuff. But like, that doesn't stop my partner from cheating on me, or that doesn't get my partner to put down his phone and actually help me with the kids. How do I get that to happen? Like, I actually need a behavior change. And sorry, but I can't see how me changing my own steps, doing something different myself, just focusing on like me and my own leadership is actually going to result in their behavior change. Okay. I get you. I hear you. That's real. We're going to talk about that and what that actually looks like. Because it does. And this is part of the nuance. This is part of the layers that, because this is so revolutionary, because this is so new, of a paradigm shift, of a concept for people, it's understandable. We've got no concept for like how it could look any other way. And I want you to know that. Because again, leadership, my friend, is not martyrdom. It is not self-abandonment. And, excuse me, empowered accountability cannot mean that you do everything forever. It means that you lead first. It means that you do your part. But what leading first and what your part is, especially within the context of a new revolutionary definition of love and relationships, that's going to create some clarity that I need and you to have, that the revolution requires that we have. Okay? Because unless we redefine what love actually is and why our relationships are here, people are going to either weaponize accountability or they're going to collapse under it. And I'm not about that. Neither of those are going to create the relationships that we're longing for, that the world needs. So stay tuned next week. Let me just take a minute to talk about the Relationship Revolution community. If you're in the community, stay tuned for your activation. The Relationship Revolution community is a monthly membership community space where we take these ideas and embody them, because real transformation doesn't happen just because we understand something different. It happens because we practice them, because we become them, because we apply them to our lives. And inside the community, we have activations and reflections and accountability, space for questions and answers, coaching, and behind the scenes, additional tools and training. And I've got big plans for the community and expanding the resources and supports that are coming into that space as well. So it is going to be one of my most favorite offers that I'm going to create, because it is essential to the revolution. It is like the Relationship Revolution community is like, as I'm understanding it, as I'm more and more leaning into my role in leading this revolution, I am understanding this community space as my holding grounds for all of my revolutionaries to become part of the revolution, to grow and expand and bring the revolution into being. So I'm very excited about it. So if you know that you want to be a part of this revolution, if you know that you want to do more than just think about and learn about these ideas, you want to actually see your relationship transform, become the kind of relationship that most people only dream about, the Relationship Revolution community is for you. It's $147 a month. You can cancel anytime. Come join us. Check us out. I would love to have you. The link is in the comments. I'll also put a little plug in for my Catalyst conversation, or Catalyst conversation. That's what we're doing now. The Catalyst Accelerator. This is a 6-week program. I'm teaching it live. I'm sharing all of our transformational frameworks for learning, empowered accountability, relational leadership, the powerful love method, all of our core tools and frameworks for transforming your relationship with live Q&A after each one of the calls. And I don't know if I'm going to ever teach it live again. I am thinking I may just create a digital program after this live event. Planning it for February. We'll see if I get enough enrollment to launch it. I'm playing with a lot of things. So, this is like the flagship core content that we historically have reserved for our private clients. So normally you could only get access to this information if you are in a $12,000 plus program. And the Catalyst Accelerator 6-week program is available live for $1,111. If you want to transform your relationship, if you want to know how to keep your relationship going strong, if you are getting married and you want your relationship to be set up for success, those are all amazing reasons to be in the Catalyst Accelerator. There's no bad reason. Like, learn the relational skills that are going to set your relationship up for success over a lifetime. That's the place to be. I'll wrap up here because I've been talking for a really long time. I need some more water. It's been over an hour. I got a lot to say about this revolution, so I'm not going to be surprised if these are all a little bit longer than usual. Thank you for being here with me and hanging in for these conversations. We are here to transform the world and our relationships. Remember, loves, the shift from blame into empowered accountability. This is where your power actually lives. It's not in waiting. It's not in control. It's in your leadership. I will see you next time for another Catalyst conversation where we get into redefining love, shift number 3. It's going to be live next Friday, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Until then, breathe. Keep leading with love. I love you.